I used to stop there all the time for dinner.
Are you right close by too?
No, 10 years ago, when I was teaching, so. And I would stop and get dinner from me and my son.
So many books.
And so quickly tired of it, yes. I just didn't, if they had seasonal, so.
That's so cool.
Okay, here we go. Hi. Welcome,
Hi.
welcome,
Hi, Dean.
folks out in YouTube land. Hi, Tom. Hi, everybody. How we doing? Everybody having fun? Good. It's really, as always, great to have nice people show up in my living room and you filling it with good vibes. And I don't have to go anywhere. Fits with my usual lazy mode. It's just this magical thing of having the YouTube live stream now. I just got another lovely email. Remember I mentioned this person a couple of months ago, Coralie. Hi, Coralie. Coralie is our member of our group in central Spain. She is meditating with us in Spain.
Wow. Miracles of
Yeah, it's really a miracle. And I'm getting, just keep hearing all these nice reports, results. The stuff works. It's always so great. For example, today I was out at a private school in the valley, and there's a teacher there that teaches a course in Eastern philosophy, and she's been bringing me out as a guest speaker for about the last 10 years or so. And she told me something, and I'd actually forgotten this, which was that she had written me an email a few months ago. She had, with considerable difficulty, finally gotten pregnant and had a child and was so happy, and then went into deep postpartum depression.
Oh no.
And so she wrote and asked me for some suggestions. And so she said to me today, she said, all the stuff you recommended, it really worked. I went, great, what did I recommend? The one thing that she mentioned, and which is in my book Fear Less, I have a chapter about cold water, and that it's really a good thing for most people, and especially if you're suffering from depression. You get in the shower. If you got the fortitude to just take a cold shower, which I don't, then great, God bless. But otherwise, take your usual warm shower. Then at the end, you inch it over to the cold, and you're gonna hate it, and that's fine. And you're just gonna feel like you're gonna die, but you don't. Right? And what it does is it snaps you out. You can't, whatever funk you're getting stuck in, or whatever mental loops you're getting stuck in, you just can't be stuck in that, because here's this blast of cold water that just takes over all your bandwidth. And she said that thing really, really helped. That really helped her get out of it.
That's great.
Yeah. So I just love hearing that stuff. And then, if you don't mind, tell me your name again.
Kiana.
Kiana, would you repeat your little story that you told me?
Oh my gosh, well, I've been struggling with fear of flying my whole life. Since I was 7, I had a very traumatic experience flying, and so ever since then, it was really a pain to get on flights, and I would go into this state of terror. I wouldn't want to I just wouldn't want to move. I couldn't eat. I mean, it was just terrible. Lo and behold, 3-4 years ago, I started traveling a lot, and I didn't want this fear to hold me back. And I was still kind of struggling with it, and I started meditating a lot at that time. And then I met Liliana, and she's been coming and seeing you for a while, and I've been telling her about my fear, and she showed me a page in your book, and you talk about turbulence on a plane and how you should address it when it happens, and the trick of breathing through your feet. And every time I go on a plane now and we're taking off, because that's when I get really scared, or when there's bumps, I just breathe through my feet. And I used to have to take medication. I used to have to kind of numb myself. And now I just, if I feel fear, I breathe through my feet for like 5-10 minutes and I feel instantly better. And it's been life-changing.
Good.
Yeah. Yay.
How do you breathe through your feet?
We'll do it together in a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
But, and you know, I invite these stories not to, you know, blow my trumpet, because, you know, I don't make this stuff up. This stuff all comes out of the teachings. It all comes from my teachers. You know, I just do my best to get out of the way and let it come through me and articulate it with some clarity and, you know, tell a few jokes to hold people's attention or whatever it takes. And so it's really it's coming from my teachers, and the people whose horns really, you know, we're blowing here are the people who do it. It's you. It's because the teachings don't exist. They're just dead. They're just words on a page somewhere until someone puts them into practice, and then they're alive. And it's like person after case, generation after generation. What's the thing they say in synagogue? You know, age after age. How do they say that in Hebrew? I can never remember it. Lavav, blavav. I'm going to get in trouble here. But I thought it was the one thing I remembered. What?
Lador Vador.
Lador Vador. Thank you. I knew there was a V in there somewhere.
For the files to work.
Yes, Lador Vador, generation after generation, age after age. The stuff, it has to become alive in each age, in each generation, in each life, and then it's something real. Otherwise, it's just something that exists, you know, in principle, exists as a possibility. So it's very, just so fulfilling to me, and so, you know, kind of gives me energy. It kind of like closes the loop and brings energy back to me to go, oh great, this stuff that I'm sharing, it really works. I haven't been giving people a bunch of bullshit, you know. That's nice. You know, and that breathing through the feet, I've gotten a lot of feedback on that. I've gotten emails from people saying, I was having lots of trouble sleeping, and this breathing through the feet thing is going to put Ambien out of business. So yeah, it's great. It's great. One story some of you have heard, you know, some of you have done with me my favorite mantra, which is "Wee!" Right? The mantra of silly exuberance. And these days I do that in all my workshops. And some months ago, I got an email from a woman in Texas saying, my husband and I took your workshop in Austin last year. And then yesterday, we were driving home from the dealer in our brand new Lexus. We were going down the highway when a state trooper broadsided us, pushed the car into a ditch. We rolled over.
What?
When everything finally came to a halt and the dust settled, we looked at each other, we looked at ourselves, we saw we were okay, and my husband and I spontaneously and simultaneously said, "Whee!"
That's good.
Yeah. So this is my idea of what the so-called spiritual life, the meditative life, is supposed to be like. It should be fun. It should be joyous. I'm pretty sure, based on the most enlightened, the most awakened people I've been around, they've all been a bundle of fun. So based on that, I'm pretty sure that the Buddha and Jesus and Shankara and Socrates and Lao Tzu, you know, all the great teachers, they were all a bundle of fun. Later on, you know, the versions that come down to us, I think that tends to get edited out, you know, because the people who came later, you know, who may not be so totally tapped into where they were coming from and thinking, well, this doesn't look good. You know, the master is, you know, cracking, you know, bathroom jokes or something. You know, we got to scrub it out, keep them solemn. So we have this idea of, like, you know, I've got my Buddha over here, that we think of the Buddha as, stone Buddha. It was like a rock. He never moved. You know, he never farted. He never pissed. But of course he did. He was flesh like all of us. And that's important because that means that what the Buddha and Jesus and Lao Tzu and all the sages attained is within reach. It's accessible to regular, carbon-based mortals like us. To make the Buddha this stone idol, or to make whoever your teacher is into, put him up on some guru or her up on some guru pedestal, in a way that's getting yourself off the hook. Because, I could never be like that. Well then, okay, I don't have to do the practice. Someone else is going to live that for me. All right? But everyone here has had some experience of, I can do it. All right, so we're good. So let's start by breathing through the feet. Very simple. You're already breathing, so that part's taken care of. Is it taking any effort for you to breathe? No. If you were going to try to stop breathing, that would take effort. Or if try to manipulate your breath, that would take effort. But just regular, natural breathing just happens. It just happens. It's continuing. Started the moment you were born, and it'll go up till the moment you die. Okay? Now, if I say the soles of your feet, something else effortless happens. Right away, your attention goes to the soles of your feet. Right? Again, you don't have to make any effort. And are you actually feeling the soles of your feet, or imagining the soles of your feet, or is it some kind of hybrid somewhere between feeling and imagining? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's something. So let's just take those two effortless things and put them together. So as you're breathing in, imagine or feel, whatever it is, that you're breathing in through the soles of your feet. And as you're breathing out, just imagine or feel that you're breathing out through the soles of your feet. That's simple. Breathing in through the soles of your feet, and breathing out through the soles of your feet. And just keep going at your own, whatever's a comfortable pace for you. The pace of your natural breath. You might feel kind of naturally that the breath, when we pay a little attention to it like this, starts to slow down a little or become a little deeper, but we're not making any effort about that. And also notice, actually, let's just leave it at that. Okay, good. How's everyone doing? Okay. Anyone notice that you feel kind of more settled? Yeah. Okay. So simple. I love this. That's it. That's it. And so here's this stupid, simple, deceptively powerful technique that if you never learned anything else about meditating or breathing or anything else, just this simple thing. Okay? So let's sit with our eyes closed and just continue in the same way, breathing through your feet. Breathing in and out through the soles of the feet. And you might notice, as you're breathing in through the soles of your feet, how high up does the breath go? Does it just go through your soles and that's it, or does it go up to your ankles or your knees? And whatever's the answer is the right answer. That's fine. It's not better, or nothing's better or worse than anything else. But just notice that if you're open to it, maybe there's some sense of the breath coming in deeper into you, coming from the soles of the feet as you breathe in, maybe up to your pelvis or your heart or your head. And then breathing out from wherever that is out through the soles of your feet. And now let's just let that practice go. Forget about breathing through the soles of the feet. Just let the breath be however it is on its own. And let everything be however it is on its own. The body is there resting in the seat. Notice that the seat holds all of your weight. So there's no work involved in sitting in the seat. The senses function all on their own. So that sounds appear within the awareness. Colors, even with the eyes closed, there's sometimes a sense of colors swimming behind the eyelids. Could be sensations, feeling warm or cool in various parts of the body, tight or loose. Whatever's there, none of it's any better or worse than anything else. We're just noticing that it's there. And all those experiences arise by themselves. There's no effort from our side. There's nothing for us to do in this natural experiencing. Just completely ordinary, everyday, regular awareness, just as we've had it in every moment of our life. We're just noticing it a little more clearly than usual. And since we notice that it goes on automatically, effortlessly, we realize, well, we may as well just relax into it. Give up into it. You know, maybe you've experienced when you're a passenger in a car and you feel a little nervous about how the driver is driving, and you find yourself, as they say, quote unquote, driving the car. You know, you're like, and going for that brake on the passenger side brake. But there is no passenger side brake. So you may as well relax and enjoy the ride. Same thing here. All our experience is self-driving. We're totally unemployed, totally on vacation. So we may as well just let go into it completely. Give up completely. Really get that we're not driving this thing. And as the various experiences arise within our awareness, sounds, thoughts, feelings, sensations, we can notice that they're a little bit like different breezes coming and going in the open space that we call the sky. Everything comes and goes, except the sky, which is awareness itself. All the stuff you're aware of keeps changing, coming, going. Only the fact that you're aware is there all the time. And that's where all the action happens. It's the space, the stage, the screen on which the whole show is displayed. So there's nothing to do but remain as you are. Remain as this open space of awareness. Within which all the experiences come and go on their own. Not trying to concentrate or focus on anything. Not trying to clear the mind or push away thoughts, or those are all just way too much work and completely unnecessary. Whatever's there is supposed to be there. You just remain as the open, free space of awareness within which all the thoughts and sounds come and go. The sky has room for every kind of breeze, and it doesn't favor one over the other. Sometimes feelings may arise naturally, whether feelings of joy, anger, restlessness, sleepiness, whatever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you feel. Just more kinds of breezes coming and going. None is better or worse. Even a tornado doesn't damage the sky. And the most beautiful, gentle breeze doesn't improve the sky. So nothing to do but rest as sky-like awareness, as you already are. Remain as this free, open space that has room for everything and is not affected by anything. At any point, if you feel that you're struggling with something, a thought or a feeling, find yourself resisting it or hanging on to it or banging your head against it, anything like that. Don't try to get rid of it. Don't try to resolve it. Just relax your grip on it. It doesn't matter if it sticks around or goes away. In time, everything will go away. Just relax your grip on it and relax back into yourself. Relax back into this open, spacious, free awareness which you are. Again and again. That's simple. Just relaxing your grip and kind of collapsing back into yourself. Now keep the eyes closed and take a few minutes to just slowly, gently bring the body back to a more active state. Kind of like waking up in bed in the morning. So you may feel like changing your position, maybe twisting or stretching a little. Sometimes people like to squeeze their palms together or squeeze or rub their face a little, get the blood circulating again. Just easing the body back to its regular active state. And after a couple of minutes like that, when you feel ready, when the body feels ready, you can slowly open the eyes. Okay. How's everyone doing? Good? Good?
It's kind of hard to
Good.
meditate with a mental disorder. I
Yeah.
have like this mental health care issue.
Right, right.
And I try and try and try to meditate,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like,
Mm-hmm. So
I try
yeah,
to do it correctly, like meditate the right way,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's really great that you bring this up, and I understand that that's
How do you
a
meditate
challenge.
with a mental illness?
Well, when you say I try and I try, what are you trying to do?
Just sort of like think like positive, cheerful, happy, like upbeat.
Yeah, that's really I can't.
Instead of just
I-
negative put downs and insults and like this like
Right.
crappy attitude.
Right. 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 So let me suggest a third thing. You just mentioned two things, and just thinking happy, positive thoughts, you said, is hard. Just thinking crappy, negative thoughts is unpleasant. So those are two. Neither of those is a good alternative. So let me suggest a third alternative. For the time that we call meditation, don't worry about what your thoughts are. They are whatever they are. They're just consider them like different kinds of weather, coming and going. Okay, maybe this is rainy weather. Now it's sunny weather. So now you've got some rainy, dark, like, oh, here comes some dark storm clouds. That would be like dark thoughts. And
Yeah.
then here comes some sunny weather. That's like sunny thoughts. And just consider that it's just like different kinds of weather. And for now, for these, this little while when we're sitting with our eyes closed, we're just not going to judge it. We're not going to try to control it. We're just going to say, it is whatever it is. And just not even particularly give it a lot of attention. We're just resting in the sky, and the sky is the same. No matter what the weather is, the sky is still just this open space. Or think of it. Let's use a different model for a minute. If you were a little kid, maybe you were a little kid once and you went to see a puppet show, right? And there's the puppets, and okay, here's the puppet. Here's the sweet, whatever, Punch and Judy. They're in love, and they're kissing, and it's all fun. And then here comes the bad guy, Bluto or whoever it is, and he's beating Punch over the head with a stick. And if you're a little kid, you get really caught up in that. Oh, how nice! Now they're kissing. Oh no, now the guy's coming with a stick. Okay. Now we get a little bit older, and we go, okay, fine. We're not so caught up in it. There's Punch, there's Judy. Now they're kissing. Now they're hitting with a stick. It's all kind of part of the puppet game. And where does it take place? It all takes place in this open space that we call the stage, the puppet theater. So while you're meditating, and when you meditate at home, and next time when you come here, just think of it like, okay, this is the puppet stage, and it's gonna go this way. But we're grown-ups here now. We don't have to be so caught up in it. We just watch it. It comes and goes, and it doesn't much matter when if someone in the puppet thing in the puppet show dies or wins the big fight or loses the big fight. We don't have to be so overwhelmed by it. It's just stuff coming and going. So, but what we don't want to do is try to jump into the stage and go, oh no, it's got to go this way. He's got a stick. Keep him back. So don't try to jump into the thoughts and manipulate them. Just consider it all to be the puppet show. Are you kind of hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so try it that way. And I have to say, I so appreciate the way you keep coming back here every time. And because I know it's somewhat challenging for you, but you're getting something out of this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great. You just keep doing it. Just keep on the case.
I wanted to work on my attitude.
Yeah, but you know what? The best way to work on the attitude is to take this time every day, sit for a little while, 15, 20 minutes, something, and just let the puppet show be whatever it is, and not try to, for that time, don't worry about the attitude. And then what you'll find is, coming out of the meditation, your attitude will start getting better without your even noticing it. Sometimes other people will notice it. Maybe friends, maybe Tommy has noticed. You notice anything like that? She's a little bit more positivity going around here?
I think something's happening. Yeah.
Something
positive is happening.
Yeah. And I know that's happened to me. This is a story that some of you have heard before. When I first started doing this stuff, and I started going to these weekend retreats where you'd meditate extra. And after the fourth or fifth one, I came home, and my girlfriend at the time said to me, you know what? Every time you come back from one of these retreats, you're a little bit nicer.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And that's what I said. Oh, that sounds good to me. Am I really? Oh, I hadn't noticed. Because sometimes we're the last to notice. Because
Yeah,
it's so natural. We're in the middle of the change. And sometimes it's easier for people on the outside to see it.
I don't want to talk like that anymore. I don't like the way I talk.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk like that anymore.
Yeah.
Saying things that are like, bizarre or like just.
Yeah. But you're on the track. It's the change is happening, and it'll take its time, but it's happening. You just keep hanging in there.
Okay, thanks.
Good. Yeah. Thank you. Good. What else? And any questions about what happened during the, for lack of a better word, meditation? You understand why I say that, for lack of a better word. That big word, meditation, sounds like it's this big forbidding task. And there's nothing to it. We just sit, we notice, we're already aware, and just rest as this awareness. And the settling happens by itself. And the results happen afterward by themselves. It's the lazy person's way to happiness. Fortunately. Now, usually at the beginning, we wanted, because going from doing a bunch of things, going around in normal everyday life, to doing nothing is very abrupt. So usually, to ease into that, we do one thing. Take something as a kind of an on-ramp before we go to the express lane. In this case, the on-ramp that we used was breathing through the feet. So notice we did it two ways. There's two ways you could use that. One is like as a standalone. Okay, I'm nervous about flying or whatever. I'm sitting at the red light and I want the light to turn green and I'm feeling frustrated. Or, I have to make this important phone call, this sales call or whatever, and I'm thinking, okay, just do it, do a quick shot of breathe through your feet for, as whatever you said, 5-10 minutes, or even, You know, sometimes one breath is all, one in and out. And, oh yeah, good, thank you very much. Right? Or we could use it as an on-ramp into the meditation, which then we also did. And then there's other on-ramps that we can use. We can use sound, just the natural sounds around you. Just listening. Oh, isn't that lovely? The sounds all kind of take care of themselves. You know, I'm not in control of it. The wind is rustling the trees. The fountain is burbling or gurgling or whatever it does out there, babbling. Or you can make sound on your own. You can do, use a mantra like we or ah. Ah. You're halfway there already. You're halfway here. It's always right here. Halfway into just settling into yourself. And then coming out, it's always good to take a few, 2-3 minutes to bring the body out slowly because because the settling is so natural and sneaks up on us incrementally, we may not realize how deeply settled the body is. So, and if we come out quickly, then it can be kind of shocking. So it's always good to ease out. Good. Any other questions or comments about anything?
I had a thought.
Mm-hmm.
I linked it to something else.
Oh, and you know, what everyone, do me a favor, speak up a little so our friends in YouTube world can hear us on the mic.
So I'm in the health profession, and I was looking at air quality, and so looking at some of the information about how filters can better clean the air, and then somebody got to making the point that the best way to deal with it is to get it at its origin. So rather than just getting the best technical HEPA and carbon filter, you can address the causes of the air pollution, such as automobiles that pollute a lot, or factories, and you could address it there. And so what I'm talking about with this is humor, because I've been thinking about humor. And I'll set it up one more way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, for a long time, thousands of years ago, Stoic philosophy was very useful. What can we control and what can we not control? Don't be upset that your child dies. It's beyond your control. It's like the sun coming up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
But now, with modern science, we don't need so much stoicism because we come up with cures for things like hepatitis C. We have antibiotics. We have vaccinations. We have all these methods to overcome the things that have attacked the human condition for so long, and so now we can have a different posture. I think humor, and I'm referring a lot also to Freud's book, The Joke.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of time it's resolving cultural and cultural tensions. So for example, he said that there's the smug laugh people do in a movie when they're the quickest to catch a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a and it's that's an anxiety people have about being smarter than the next guy. It's competitive. And then there's the kind of the dirty joke that men tell. And he said, of course this is Freud, but there's something to it, that they wanted to have their way with the women and they couldn't, and so they instead imposed this kind of dirty joke on them. But so in many cases, jokes, they deal in irony or whatever, but a lot of time what makes them funny is we're holding a tension in us culturally, and the joke addresses that tension in a way that allows us to release the tension. My point is, it may be possible for us to come up with solutions at the source of what these causes of tension are, and resolve them that way, and that way eradicating humor. Because humor does not
Eradicating
not get rid of
humor?
Yes, because humor does not get rid of the source of the tension. It only gives us an intermission or a pause from it. It doesn't it doesn't relieve us from it.
Yeah, well, interesting.
For example, in the case of why are people competitive about being the quickest to laugh at the theater?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
exactly
there's a lot there in your comment. I mean, let me take that last bit though, where what seemed to be your bottom line there.
humor's not benign. A lot of it's mean.
Yeah,
Or has the victim.
a lot of things is mean. You know, a lot of The thing that I'm picking up on in everything you're saying there, that to me is most significant is, okay, getting to the source.
Right.
Getting to the source.
Go deeper.
Go deeper. Go, and ideally go deepest.
Yes.
Okay? So, we could think of it, okay, on the surface level, on the most obvious level, the most palpable, tangible level of life. There's all our outward activity. There's the physical environment and our activity within it, and the effects that our activity has on the environment, the effects the environment have on our physical activity, on our bodies as they move around in the environment. On a less obvious level, a more invisible level, there's people's motivations, there's people's thoughts, there's people's emotions. We may see these expressed in the behavior. Sometimes we think we know what they're expressing, and we don't always get it right. Okay, but then what is deeper than that? What is deeper than the thoughts and the emotions? In other words, there's like all this doing, which kind of is out there, so to speak. We'll just use this model for now. All this doing and the environment is out there, and then our doing, our activity within it feels a little more like us, a little more intimate to what we are. The environment feels like different from it's what we are in. For now, we can say this in this model. It's the way people usually experience it. Okay, the environment's out there. Then our activity within it feels more like us, like something that's us. Then more intimate, in other words. If there's a mountain, that feels kind of separate from me. But then if I have my activity, whatever, digging gold out of that mountain, that feels more intimate to me, closer in to me. What feels even closer in is my thoughts about that. Okay, if I go and I invest this money in this equipment, I get a pickaxe, I buy a train ticket to the base of the mountain, blah, I can achieve this, hopefully make this money. So my thoughts, which are quieter, less visible, more subterranean, they feel closer to me, more intimate. What's even closer to me, more intimate, is my feelings. My joy when I strike gold, my disappointment when I don't. Okay? That feels somehow even closer than our thoughts. Now, what is even more intimate, even closer to us?
Well, that's a cultural need, but how about biological
Wait,
needs?
okay, go with me for a minute. I'm going somewhere in this model.
Yeah.
Okay? Even closer than our feelings is our beingness. Because that's the most constant, or we could say our awareness, right? So that maybe this afternoon you were having one feeling at lunch. Oh man, bean sprouts and avocado sandwich, great, And then something else happened. You were in bad traffic and you felt it. So the feelings come and go, the thoughts come and go. But the awareness that was aware of, silently aware of, the beingness, with the presence with which you were present to the sandwich and then the traffic and now to this conversation. I think if you look closely, you'll see that is our beingness. That is the most intimate level of our existence. It's the one that doesn't change. It's the one that was the same when you were 5 years old playing on the jungle gym as it is right now, and will be on the same on the day you die. You have a very different body, very different stuff going on, biologically, everything different, but the beingness, the awareness of the unchanging awareness that's aware of all the stuff that changes is the most intimate. Now, what we're doing when we meditate is we're allowing things to, in a very natural, effortless way, settle down into that place of just simple presence, simple beingness, simple awareness, into the most intimate level, the source. When we come out, as we were discussing, lo and behold, somehow things start, our behavior, our attitude, the words that come out of our mouth, everything, without our necessarily even trying, starts to become somehow more positive, more light-filled, we could say. Why should that be? Now, what all these sages here say, and what everyone here has experienced to some degree, is that that place of presence, that place of just that most basic level of beingness, that is, there's a term that Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, who was the first full-time Tibetan Buddhist teacher in the U.S. He said, it's our basic goodness. That beingness is our basic goodness. And that all of our non-goodness, all of our confusion, all of our meanness, all of our grouchiness and lack of satisfaction, all is just symptomatic. Those things all may seem very different, but they're all symptomatic of just lack of contact with that basic goodness. Even though it's what we are in every moment. It's our most intimate being, but because it's so intimate to us, like, something else that's pretty intimate to you is your nose. You don't see your nose. You don't see your eyeballs because they're so close to you. This is even closer than your nose and your eyeballs. It's your beingness. So we tend to miss it. So what we do, because we're always striving for stuff. So what we do now is we sit to meditate for saying, okay, I'm going to try to meditate right, so it becomes another form of striving. And finally we get tired of that not working, we give up, and we just settle within ourselves. And the contact, the conscious, because how could you be out of contact with what you are? Even to say contact, that's dualistic language, which is not really accurate. You are it, you don't have to contact it, but we've fallen out of conscious contact of it. We are it, but we are not it knowingly. So by just kind of marinating in that in meditation, more and more we come to be that knowingly. And we bring, and so the quality of that basic goodness just kind of percolates out into all our activity more and more. And people notice, gee, you're a little bit nicer. That's it. That's the height of, all the exotic Eastern philosophy that, maybe you came here to learn about, or, we read about. That's what it comes down to. I read once an interview with great wise man Aldous Huxley shortly before he died, and he'd been through so much, and Eastern stuff and Western stuff and philosophy stuff and psychedelic adventuring and all this. And someone asked him, okay, what have you learned from all of this? And I'm waiting to hear him say something really profound. And he said, try to be a little nicer to people. And at the time I thought, God, that's so lame. But it's making more and more sense to me. Be a little nicer to people. And then, just, extrapolate that out to the nth degree. And then you're the Buddha, you're Jesus. And that's what we're all here, junior Buddhas, junior Jesus. So, and humor, okay, humor doesn't eradicate all the problems, fine. Cookies don't eradicate all the problems either, but I don't want to do away with cookies. Okay, there's a lot of things that don't eradicate all the problems of life, but they're just nice things. It's a pretty simple proposition. And in fact, I'm actually having breakfast tomorrow with a friend of mine who's a stand-up comic. And I have such great admiration for what he does. And I tell him this all the time. I say, you and I were in the same business, right? Because you may have noticed that in meditation, sometimes the stuff that comes up may be the stuff that you worry about during the day. Oh, my relationship, or my job, or my children, or my sick parents, or whatever. and maybe that kind of bubbles up in your thoughts, but it's in a different context. Because instead of being in the context of up here in this active level where you're engaged, it's in the level where you're just kind of letting go and being at ease. And biologically, yeah, there's different, more harmonious brain waves going on and different kinds of endorphins or whatever it is, bumps. So in that context, where the same stuff that seems so overwhelming and so horrible, it's bubbling up. And this is part of what you were talking about before, that the negative stuff comes up in the context of this more relaxed state of meditation. And it's good that it comes up, because we get to experience the same stuff coming up, but somehow it's not so overwhelming. Now, what do comics joke about? They joke about all the stuff that we stress about, right? Sex and death and disease and marriage and work and anxiety and all this stuff. But they do it with a skill so that they point out some kind of discrepancy or something that makes us laugh. And when you laugh, you relax. There's this joy bubbles out of you. So now you're regarding the same things that seem so horrible in the context of this bubbling up of joy. And it's not so overwhelming. That's a pretty good service. Man, I would do that if I could. Is this making sense?
In the short term, that and where we're at now, that seems like a good solution.
Yeah.
But in many instances, it also points the way to a bigger problem that could maybe be resolved in more satisfying ways.
Yeah, I mean, there's also actual practical stuff
And
that has.
Of course, going to the essential self is like a panacea that's going to help anything and diminish all the appetites and the human frailties. I get that.
Yeah, but also what I think you're implying here is that sometimes there's business to be taken care of. If something's going on, the air is being polluted. We got to do. It's not enough to say, oh, it's okay, man. I'm just meditating. I'm getting mellow. So go ahead and pollute the air. And no, we got to do something about it. We've got to take care of business.
Well, what I meant there is that in the case of taking care of it afterwards,
Yeah.
the other thing is to take care of it as its origin, where it starts, and that with many of the human problems, some of which we laugh about because we hold tension about them, yeah, it makes them smaller and easier to deal with when we release that tension through humor. But what if we actually went in and dealt with them at their origin in a meaningful way?
Do you mean during meditation?
No.
Yeah.
Not during meditation.
Yeah. So meditation is a time for being, and then action is a time for doing.
It was just me wondering if one day, as humans evolve, maybe thousands of years from now, and whenever they show enlightened beings that come from a far distant galaxy and arrive here, they're never joking or congenial.
Yeah, well, that's bullshit. When the aliens come, if they don't have a sense of humor, I want them to turn around and get out of here. Yeah. No, someone has got to show the aliens being different from us. It's like it's just another version of the stone Buddha. That's not what enlightenment looks like.
No cultural or biological tension in us. No, there's no laugh.
No, not true. Not
Just
true.
Straight irony.
Not true. Not true. Laughter. I am telling you, laughter does not have to come from tension. It doesn't have to come from irony. Yeah, it doesn't have to come from release of tension. That's the way we may be used to it, because most of it is in this kind of from the non-enlightenment model. But I'm telling you, I've been fortunate enough to be around some really awakened people, and they laugh their asses off.
About what?
Did
they giggle about
No, but
fun?
listen,
It's fun, or is there an
Your life is fun. Life is joy. Sat Chit Ananda. Okay? Okay?
like a child.
Yeah. Okay. Sat. We've talked about this before. The formula, just using for the moment because it's such good evocative language, the language from Hindu philosophy. What is the definition of existence itself, that core level, that basic nectar of life is Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means beingness, existence itself. You know, the presence, the fact of being present. Chit means awareness. And those two things are equivalent. So you know, I was saying before, we can say just what's that one unchanging thing, that most intimate level of our existence. We could say it's our beingness, or we could say it's our awareness. Same thing, because beingness is not dead, it's not flat, it's not inert, it's aware. And then the third thing, which also is connected by the first two by an equal sign, is ananda, joy. And we think of joy as, but that's a very specific thing. That's an emotion. That's a thing up here. But this, for lack of a better word, joy. Okay, there is this joy that does not have an opposite. There is this joy which is the basic apprehension of life as it is, without all our distorting lenses of our old stresses and traumas and things, which are all being dissolved through the meditative process. And the more clearly you see this, I'm telling you, I'm reporting, okay? I'm not theorizing, I am reporting that the more clearly you see, the more, wow, it's
That's
just
laughter and
cool.
joy of life as you live it, right? But is that also laughing at stories with a punchline?
Then that can be a part of it. Everything can be a part of it. Everything can be a part of it. Everything. You tell me you got a good joke. You got some good, clean or dirty jokes. Tell me afterward. Okay. I haven't lost my appetite for that yet. I don't plan to anytime soon. What else? Let's hear from another delegation. Anything else on anyone else's mind? And by the way, especially because we have a couple of new people here tonight, very often people will like come up to me after the session and say, I just want to ask you about this. And then it's always a thing that I wish they brought up in the group. Okay, yes.
So I'm just going to say something if you're going to say that.
Yes.
I don't know, I hate using the word ego because I don't know exactly what makes the difference between ego and awareness. But something in self lately when I've been meditating has been trying to reproduce experiences, which is literally impossible because the meditation I had yesterday was yesterday and today is today.
Right.
So it's, of course, it's not possible. But I find that when I'm sitting down, the more profound I think the experience is, the more this place of like controlling and managing the experience comes into play.
Trying to control and manage it comes into play.
The want, the need to control and manage comes into play.
Yeah, the want, not the need.
Yeah, the feeling of needing it.
Yes. The illusion of need.
Exactly.
Right.
So I was wondering if you maybe had any words of wisdom to maybe combat that place. And maybe help talk about like what that place is of ego. If it's still awareness, it's still a thought. So why am I having this like controlling thought?
Yeah.
Also, if that makes sense.
Okay. For the moment, let's put that word ego aside, and we'll come back to it.
Right. Yeah.
That's a word because that means so many things to so many different people. It can kind of throw a monkey wrench into the clarity of our exploration. So let's set that aside. So really what you're describing is quite simple. You have a meditation one day, or it could be out of meditation. You could be walking down the street and just, there's some clarity, some opening into this quality of ananda, this quality of, oh yeah, this everything is just, way cooler than I thought it could be, and early in our career it tends to happen more in the meditation, but sometimes out, and then more and more it tends to just percolate into the moments of our life. When it happens, especially when it happens in meditation, it's very natural that the next time you sit down, there's this thought, ooh, I want to get back to that place. Right? It's like anything. You go to a good restaurant, you have a great meal. I want to go back to that restaurant. It's the same kind of impulse. There's nothing complicated about it. So then it's very natural that we just, okay, yeah, Dean said don't try, but I'm just if I get just a little bit, I can remember where that is, just a little over there, and it never works. And in fact, we just wind up getting frustrated, because how did that enjoyable experience of opening, of bliss, happen in the meditation? When it happened the first time, were you trying?
Of course not.
Of course not. We have a winner. Of course not. Yeah, because it can only come about when we're not trying.
Well, then self tells me to get to, it's even like wanting to combat you right now.
Yeah.
And say, get to that point again and then don't try. So,
Yeah.
don't eat meat that day, drink a chai latte, going there, listen
Oh.
to this song before you go in there, and then once you breathe and your breathing starts to get to this point through the body, then don't try.
Oh yeah. Good luck, my friend. Yeah. I mean, do as much of that stuff as you need to do to find out that
Break
not
yourself down.
to find out that there's a wonderful expression in Yiddish, "Gar nicht helfen," means nothing helps. I grew up hearing my parents say that, and you have to shrug when you say it. "Gar nicht helfen," nothing helps, right? And so we just keep fine. Go ahead, knock your head against the wall as much as you need to do till you get good and convinced that nothing will help, and then you stop trying, and then the stuff happens again. And it depends on how much appetite you have for self-punishment. I don't have much of an appetite for it. I really hate pain. And it can feel frustrating because, oh my God, and it was so simple. It's so like, you ever have one of those dreams where you're flying and it's so vivid and you go, oh, it's so simple. How did I miss it? It's just this angle here and then off you go. And I'm always going to be able to do this now. Right? And then you start waking up and you're trying to remember, wait, what was that angle? And then, oh, it's so frustrating. It's kind of like that. And it's, to some degree, it may be helpful to know that everyone goes through this stuff. This is all, as my old teacher Maharishi used to say, it's in the standard catalog of experiences. Right? And in the long run, all that stuff, it kind of is forgotten. What happens is, in its own time, the more and more you're opening to that. Muji. I remember I was on a retreat with him. I think this one was when we were with him in India, and someone got up to tell this story about how they just had this total opening, and it was just, oh, this is it. Now I'm, stick a fork in me. I'm done. I'm awake. I'm walking in bliss. This is it. I'm never going to lose it. And it went on. They were just living that 24/7 for 3 weeks or 3 months or whatever it was. And the person said, and then, and Muji said, we could, based on all the stories people tell me, says we could write a book called "And Then." Right? And it happens. It's fine. It's fine. It's a beautiful thing Rupert Spira says about this stuff. He says, it's all grace. Finding that opening, finding that awakening is grace. And losing it is grace. Okay? And he said, and in a way, losing it is the greater grace. Because then you have to find your way back.
And it sucks.
And it's gonna, yeah. At the time you're gonna say it sucks. You're gonna say it sucks, and that's all part of the grace. And of course, finding the way back means, okay, how do you get back here? And finding out that all that effort we were talking about doesn't work. But the other thing to know is that once an experience happens, and then we're remembering it, what is that memory? What is that memory? Is that memory the experience? It's just a thought. Bong. It's just a thought. Exactly right. That's important for you to know. Remember this.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just a thought. Where is that that blissful experience from last week or last month? Reach out your hand and touch it right now. It's just a thought. So what you're trying to cling to is a thought. What you're trying to get back to is a thought, and that is going to prevent you from from consciously, simply, nakedly, just marinating in what you are in your beingness, which is beyond thought.
That helps.
Yeah. And all the stuff of, okay, if I set up this, don't eat the cheeseburger today, or hold my breath and count to 27 or whatever it is. This is another beautiful thing Muji says. He says, whenever there's some awakening, the mind tries to take a piece of the action.
That's what I think I'm referring to. But
Yes.
when he's saying the mind, what is
The mind is the generator of thoughts.
Right.
Actually, the mind is the generation of thoughts. There actually is no such thing as mind. There's just a bunch of thoughts being generated within awareness, and we call that activity. It's like wind. We say the wind is blowing, and there's a subject and a verb, and it sounds like there's this thing called wind and this activity it does called blowing. But when it stops blowing, where's the wind? No,
out there?
there's no such thing as wind.
Right.
There's no such thing. There's just the activity. In the same way, there is no thing called mind. There's activity of thinking, and conventionally we call that activity, we call it mind. That thinking, we call it mind. So in other words, this thinking, which is happening up in the level of the waves on the surface of the ocean of our existence, is trying to claim a piece of the depth, a piece of the silence. And it's an act of usurpation. This doesn't belong to that. Okay, and this is how, and so much of what you hear on the so-called spiritual path. Okay, you've got to do this and you got to do that, and a lot of it comes very sincerely because like people had some experience while they were doing X, Y, or Z. A teacher of mine, wonderful teacher, died about a year ago, Jerry Jarvis. I heard him once say years ago. He said, "Here's the story of the whole history of religion in a nutshell. One day, a guy was sitting in a tomato patch, and he happened to sink into transcendence. So you know what comes next. 2,000 years later, they're all sitting in the tomato patches, waiting for the great tomato to come and enlighten them. And they're wearing little tomatoes on chains around their necks and stuff. This happened to me once. I was on a retreat I think this was up in Canandaigua, the Finger Lakes district in New York State, with this wonderful Buddhist teacher of mine. There's a picture of him back here, Charles Genoux, this Swiss Buddhist teacher that Yafet and I have both studied with. And he's this very quiet, very, very skillful, modest, unassuming guy. And he was doing this stuff with movement. We were moving around the room, and we'd meditate, and he just doing this stuff in such subtle, skillful ways to just pull the rug of the idea of meditation out from under us. And, oh, right. If you go on a retreat, usually the first day, everyone they stake out their place. I'm going to set up my cushion here and have my water bottle here. And it's like, okay, now I got my little secure island, right? And in a way, of course, what you're doing there is you're giving some kind of shell, some kind of structure to keep yourself from totally letting go. You've traveled 3,000 miles to the retreat to experience all your molecules blowing apart and you're being just pure beingness, and right away you're setting up your fort. I got my fort, right? So Charles did this thing where he made us all get up out of our little forts and walk around the room, and then it was almost like playing musical chairs or something. At one moment, when he gave a signal or something, okay, wherever you are, just sit there, don't meditate or anything. And I wound up on someone else's green cushion, and the way he just pulled those rugs out from under us, it was so skillful and so simple that I would just went, just like right top of my skull open, and and then at the end of it, I was going, oh man, when we come in next time, I'm sitting on that cushion again. Right? So stupid. But it's just the mind coming in, trying to get a piece of the action, trying to put a finite label, a finite form on that which has no form, on that which is the thank God, the destruction of all our labels, all our categories. So, our next session is going to be next Thursday, not Tuesday. This is all because of Christmas coming up. So next Thursday, the 20th. All right. And as usual, I'll be sending out an alert a few days before. A couple of new people. If you want to be on my email list, there's a thing you can sign so you'll get the alerts. YouTubers, as always, I'll put the thing up for the live stream a couple of days before. So it'll be Thursday the 20th, and then the next session after that will be Tuesday night, January 1st, New Year's Day.
Wow.
And we were wondering, is that crazy to have people to come on New Year's Day? Will people show up on New Year's Day? Maybe. We'll see. I'll be here. I'll be here. Okay, but I like that idea. I like starting the new year off. What could be better, right? And then some of you know we've been doing day-long retreats here 4 times a year, once per season. I know a few of you were at our fall retreat. So we're going to have our winter retreat on Sunday, February 10th. I've put it up on my website, and I'll be sending out a notice about it with more details. The theme of this retreat is going to be opening to space. Opening to space in body, in spirit, mind, and body. And I'm going to have a guest instructor come for part of the time. It's a woman named Kira Schwartz, who is she's actually had this international career as a dancer, and she teaches something that Yafa and I, hi honey, have both been doing this very kind of brilliant system, a practice called gyrotonics, that has to do with in the same way that we're like opening to space with, I hate to say the mind, with the beingness in meditation, that there is a similar opening to using the body, opening to space within the body. So we're going to bring in Kira as a guest instructor for part of the day to bring that in as part of the program. And she's an incredible teacher, just so sensitive, so tuned in. I was doing one session with her one day, and it's the only time I've ever, in the middle of the session, I felt like I needed a drink of water. And about 1 second before I was going to go get a drink of water, she said, "You need a drink of water?" She's just so tuned in. So I'm really looking forward to y'all, if you come to the retreat, meeting her and getting to experience what she has to offer. So that'll be on February 10th, Sunday. We'll be sending out info about that. Usually these retreats fill up fast, so it's good to register early. Anything else? Okay, so may all beings swiftly realize their true nature, Satchit Ananda, being, awareness, bliss, that awe, that fulfillment, that ultimate happy ending that they've been looking for everywhere else. And may all the conflict, all the meanness, all the misunderstanding, the cruelty that comes out of the lack of conscious contact with that, may all that spontaneously evaporate, and thus may peace prevail everywhere throughout the universe. And the traditional Sanskrit language for that wish. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, YouTube friends. See you next time. Now, cookies. Good stuff.